This vlog is going to be a response to Rex Morningstar. He's someone also who has followed Podlair somewhat over the years, and he is posting in regards to the fallout in the Podlair community. Rex Morningstar says, "I'm sorry for the betrayal of your comrades and any hurt that it has caused." Yeah, me too. I'm a bit bummed out, but it's for the better, and I'm moving forward. It definitely hurt. It hurt a lot, but I think this was inevitable, and it is what it is, and all you can do is just dust yourself off and keep going forward and upward in the direction you think is best to go. He says, "Nevertheless, you're not crazy by far." Yeah, I don't think I'm crazy either. I think I'm way ahead of my time, and people who are way ahead of their time are often seen as crazy by their contemporaries when that is not actually the case. So, yeah, thank you. He says, "I've never come across someone so much like myself, even down to how we look." I know you don't care for the MBTI, socionics, Enneagram, and so on, but he feels that I fit certain parameters, and that perhaps he and I are similar in some ways and different in others. So I appreciate your good wishes, but you are right. I do not care for those models in general. I think that they have nothing much to go on, although I think they were touching on something, because the work that I'm doing shows there is definitely something going on, and they were getting certain things right. Like MBTI, they got the 16 right. I give them credit for that. But how it was originally discovered and then how they tried to teach others going forward were both erroneous, and those who now currently carry those banners forward are woefully incompetent. But I appreciate you extending a wish of goodwill towards me, and that we share a spirit of trying to better ourselves. So I appreciate that, while I am dismissive of those models. He says, "But you made your own system, which is amazing. Even if you get a few wrong, you grow as you go." Agreed. So the pain of growth seems to bother a lot of people. They say that they know that's a thing and they accept that, but knowing that in your head and saying that out loud is not the same thing as actually truly internalizing it and being the kind of seeker that one needs to be. He says, "I just wouldn't focus on celebrities, especially with all the cosmetic surgeries." Okay, appreciate the feedback, but I believe you are incorrect here, and here's why. Well, there's several reasons. One is that that's how I learned. I learned using celebrities from movies and TVs to get here. So there's got to be some merit in that I'm the best at doing this, and that's what got me here. It's one of the main things that was able to get me here. So there's my testimonial on that, my abilities, but then reasons for why that likely is also add to it. One is that when it comes to a spread of quality categories, acting has the most. For the men and the women, they have all the interpretives and most of the sensualists. So that is a huge spread. And one of the complaints people say is that, oh, maybe people are only getting answers because with Mojo journalism saying that certain career bubbles have a limited amount of different quality categories. Are people really guessing because they can see it, or are they guessing based on statistical probability? So actually, actors, which I think you probably mentioned with celebrities, also music and comedy, those are some of the main celebrities. All three of those have wider spreads than most other career bubbles. So it makes for a greater challenge and a greater testimonial that this is not random or just guessing based on statistical probability, because that would not explain being able to zone in with some degree of higher than expected accuracy on answers that could be quite a few, could be 10 to 12 different answers and still getting it. What else? Media. There is a lot more, besides the variety, there's just a lot more media on them. So if you actually, first of all, interview footage for anyone is the best thing to work with. That is the best kind of data you can really have to work with. And those in acting and comedy and music do more interviews. If you look at most of the shows that actually capture, celebrities and interviews, there's some athletes, there's some, experts in various scientific fields that get on there, but in general, it is the actors, it is the music artists, it is the comedians that actually are on there more. And more time seeing them in interviews is crucial. So that is a big problem that you will have to work with other samples that have diminishing media. So I'm not attached to celebrities because, ooh, they're celebrities. No, I'm coming at it from a strict researcher's need. And as a researcher, I need certain data to work with. They have more data. And for proof of concept, as I mentioned, they have more ability to prove the concept because you're trying to guess like which female is in this lead. There's quite a few that it could be. Statistically speaking, there's quite a few, so getting the right one or close to the right one says a lot more as far as proof of concept. Also, media footage for the interviews is the most important, but next you can actually see footage of them performing their job. It's not as good as an interview, but you can read a person singing. It's just them a lot of times, focused on them, you see their face, you're being given a lot to work with. Same with comedy, you see a stand-up comedian. Granted, it's a monologue, not as good as an actual interview, but that's still good data to work with. And so, same with acting, you can watch the shows if you like, or not like, but you know, like, oh, so-and-so is an IZ or whatever. You can actually watch shows of them and just see them being an IZ in lots of different situations. It's scripted, but they're still being whatever they are, and that's a lot to work with. In most careers, other than that, you don't get any footage of them performing. You know, scientists and journalists and so forth, you don't tend to get as much of them unless they're on-air anchors. If they're on-air journalists, then you have more to work with. You know, athletics, most of the time it's a team sport, so it's more spread out. They're wearing uniforms. You see them from more farther away. Like you're trying to properly enjoy a basketball game or a soccer game or a football game. You have to kind of pull back and do like a field view. That's how you view that sport. Sports that actually have solo stars to it, they're better. It's easier to actually read like a tennis player. It's better if you can see an interview, but if you have to watch them perform, it's better than a team sport. But still, watching a single tennis player do what they do is not as easier to track on as a music artist singing, a comedian giving a performance, and an actor having a close-up on them as they talk. Those are easier to work with. Also, whether or not we like these celebrities or not, and we think they're shallow or not, regardless, there's no question that when it comes to making a case that people in general can look at, you have to choose people that the most people know about. So if you go into pretty much any field, even most sports, and you list the top 100 people, most people won't know them. They won't. Whereas if you do that in music, in comedy, and acting, they will. Most people will know, first of all, who they are, and critically, they can pull their face up in their head. If you ask someone right now, a famous actor or comedian, whatever, they'll know the name, and they'll be able, with that, to pull their face up. And maybe even a little video will play in their head of some performance they saw them doing. That's a huge feat critical to mojo reading, and that feat is pretty much already there available to a lot of people when it comes to the celebrities. It's not possible at all for a lot of other kind of samples, and then if it is possible, fewer people around the world will be able to do that. They'll have to learn who they are and then learn what they look like and how they move and act and their face goes. But you take someone like a famous singer, take David Bowie. Lots of people know who David Bowie is. The fact that we focus on that is not saying that his lifestyle was more important or essential than anyone else, because all humans make their contribution. They're all equally worthy in making the species go forward, as far as, well, they can be. That's not they are. People get different efforts of heroism in their lifetime, but it is possible to have more or less contribution in a total sense from any career, from any country, from any level of notoriety or obscurity. But for researching, not the case. It's very, very, very important that people know who they are, can do it visually, and if that's already in place, that's even better. So already in place, or you could easily go get lots of footage to make that database. I don't know who else you can say. A lot of people already know who they are, or if you just go Google them, you can very quickly get tons of images of their face, tons of images of them performing or acting or even giving interviews. So, I see the objection that some people might think it's like focusing on the shallow. It's not. It's focusing on the samples that actually are going to be easier to research. Now, you said difficulty is the cosmetic surgery. Well, and other people were saying the difficulty is, actors act. But to me, I don't think this really applies because whether you act or not, you're still seeing the cues. So actually, if you can still see the cues despite their actors, again, this goes back to the proof of concept. That's a stronger proof of concept that you can still tell apart a Zai from a Nai from a Nai Z, even though they're playing villains, they're playing comedy, they're playing romance, they're playing a supporting role, they're playing a lead, they're trying to be friendly, they're trying to make the audience not like them. They're doing all these things, but you can still say that's a Zai doing it, that's a Zhai doing it. That's a more powerful proof of concept statement. As for plastic surgery itself, compared to all the clear advantages that the celebrities give as far as being study tools, the danger of the cosmetic surgery I think is rather small because not all of them do it. And when they do it, most of the time I've seen people that have had work done, you can still tell what they are. I mean, it's to me, the amount of difficulty that adds in general, unless they do a really messed up Mickey work job, in general, you can still tell. Like, sure, Jennifer Lopez's nose may have changed in some ways and so forth, and but she still looks to me like a Jiva. You can still see she's a Jiva, despite she may have had her nose tweaked or chin tweaked or whatever. You can still see. Then there's a fact, going back, that they're very famous. They have lots of media. Something I routinely do is whenever you go to see a celebrity, they have a lot of work done, or they're very old, or any other thing, they got huge and fat, and something makes it more difficult. Because there is so much more media to work with, you can easily just go back in time and just go back to very early in their career where they didn't have the money or fame or anything to actually get that work done. So I see the concern you have, but I think probably the greater concern maybe you're having, because a lot of people share this, is that emphasizing celebrities is an emphasis on the shallow. But it's not, it's emphasizing the better data, despite maybe wanting to look at other things. It is what it is. He says, deep down inside, you should have known this was going to happen from them. I think he's referring to the fallout, the betrayal of my comrades. Yeah, I did. I knew that that was going to be happening to some extent. My spirits told me that I should expect to be totally alone, and that if I got anything more than that, even just one person like Jarlene, I should count myself extremely fortunate. Because the kind of discovery that is being made and my desire to be a proper hero and take it forward as it needs to go, the kind of discovery and the fact that I want to go about it the high road, that's going to be lonely, and if you try to fight that loneliness, you can expect a lot of people to turn on you because they're just not going to be up for it, and then their weaknesses, their flaws of character are going to come out, and when they do, they will lash out at you as that happens. So I did know that, but I was... on one side, I really wanted to help people who showed any interest, any effort. They did anything, and the rest of the world's doing nothing. So even though these people were doing a little bit, I wanted to validate every little effort, every little thing that was all in the right direction. I really wanted to show that's good, you do better, but you're doing better than other humans. Keep going that way. And so that was good, but it was wrong from a tactical standpoint. And then it was wrong from a personal failing on me in that I wanted too much company. I generally am with my spirits, you guys know that about me, but still I'm human, and so there is that need for, wow, I really don't have a lot of people that can really kind of bond with me, can really be with me in what I'm doing, and that's a bit sad, but it's a cost, and now that I'm accepting it, I get even closer association with my spirits, and even closer association with those few people who actually can do this and go about in the right ways. There is a sadness, but also a renewed joy in the good things, the true things. So yeah, I knew, and I did have warning signs. There were things that were told to me. There were things I was made aware of. People sent me emails. People sent me screenshots of things were going on in different forums. So yeah, I had ideas that that people were cracking, and that they didn't have the best of intentions even to start with, despite saying that they did. But I plowed ahead anyway, as I said, for those reasons, and I didn't bring them up because I figured that if they had any chance of going forward, I would just keep presenting them with the data, with the call to be their heroic self, trying to make ourselves a connection with all of humanity, try to play to these higher instincts, and those other things would just slough off over time. I was hoping for that in vain, and that's why I ignored those things, and it ended up costing me, not costing me in the long term strategically, it's actually better now, but it cost me in some wasting of time and in hurt feelings. He says, also, I see your mate as Ni Zhai and not Zhai Ni. I'm not sure why you're saying that. Perhaps it's because of the close friendship I have, the dear friendship I have with Jailene, who is a Jainee. No, I know my mate is a Nijai, my unconscious genius, my other, my muse goddess is a Nijai. We are dear friends. We are research colleagues. We are dedicated comrades in this journey together. We can both see it. We know it needs to go forward. And she values the dedication I have, and she likes her, her monk dear friend. So I'm a well-meaning, can say monk dear friend, and she and I are the best two detectives. So you can think of us as like Sherlock and Watson. In the same way, they have an intense connection and a bond in that they can see things other people can't, but it's platonic. They have a platonic friendship that allows them both to be better selves. So I'm very, very grateful to have a Jailene in my life, but I respect her as a Genèse, I respect myself as a Nujez, and we both actually value each other for what we are, and we don't try to make each other things that we are not. I don't think I've said anything ever to the contrary, and I've always kind of said how important Nexi is to me, and the role that that spirit plays in my life, and the fact that spirit has a Nijai essence to it. But I understand that I am so close to Jailene, and we work so close together, and it's like a tag team going on there on our enlightenment adventures. So I can see where there might be confusion, but hopefully I cleared it up for you. He says, "You always speak from the heart, from your core honesty." I try to. I really do, and I'm glad to see that you can see that, and that a few other people can see that as well. As these people have been turning on me like jackals and jackasses that they are behaving like now, attacks on me in that way just highlight that they are stupid and toxic, because that's the only way you could actually think that about me. You can think a lot of other things about me, but the fact that I'm actually not a true believer in what I'm doing, that there really is no way to explain that other than just foolishness and a willful blindness. He says, "If I may, Ben is not bad." Agreed. Ben, I will be doing a vlog for him, and there are things that he and I agree on, things that we disagree on. There are things that I am disappointed, and there are also things I commend him for. But overall, I think he's a good person who is trying to do good, even though he and I may not see eye to eye on things as far as what is going on and how we should conduct ourselves in the situation we find ourselves in. No, I've never actually felt that he is a bad person. No, I agree with you. Despite all that's going on and the heightened emotions right now, no, I still have fond memories of all the adventures I went on with Ben, and I wish the best for him. And yeah, I'm just really sad. I'm really sad, and I will miss his company, but I understand that we need to go our separate ways now. He says, "But I spotted that a long time ago with the Demas. To be honest with you, that we knew him and his brother apparently talking about this, that he would be the ones to turn on you." You're not the only one that warned me about Demas turning on me. I've been warned about that for years, including early on in our knowing of each other. So yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. You can't make a person be anything other than they are or are willing to strive to be. Anyway, this is getting long. My point was, you're not crazy. Thank you. I think I'm not crazy either. And I'm sorry for your pain. Yeah, it's a bit rough, but moving forward involves pain. So I take it in stride as best I can, and I will try to walk through it and get to the other side going forward and upward as I can, using the pain to grow and to teach me going forward how to better conduct myself. He says, "Podlair is awesome, and thank you for all the help you have given me by not making me feel so lonely about who I am, and thank you for what you wrote helping me." Yeah, glad to do it. Yeah, I do try to do good. I'm going to have to pull back now and interacting with people as far as their cases a lot because it's just too dangerous. It's too much responsibility on me, and it distracts me from my primary research focus. But I'm glad for whatever good I was able to do people in the past, and if I'm able to do any good for them going forward, I know I will be doing a tremendous, unprecedented good turn for the future humans. For modern humans and with their wants and their needs, their headspaces, their attachments, yeah, whatever good they can get from what I'm doing, they're grateful. I mean, I am. They're welcome to it. They're welcome to have that. That is great. Although I really can't be considering that much going forward as far as how I proceed. He says, I even made my own holistic system blend. I intend to add it to mainstream psychology later in life or just in my novels. All right, well, two things on that. First of all, you are welcome to use whatever from Podlair is helpful to you. That's great. If you can blend into another system you feel is helpful, I'm fine with that. Just make sure that you keep apprised of the latest in the data collection, because all of our speculations on what holistic systems can be built, on the meaning of what it means to be a human and what you do with that, is going to have to come from that data. But since you said repeatedly here you don't think I'm crazy, I'm guessing that means that you can see the mojo phenomenon somewhat yourself, to the point that you realize that I'm not crazy when I say I'm seeing it. And if you realize I'm not crazy when I see it, that means you see it, and if you see it, then you know that everyone's system, whatever it is, ideology, their doctrine of belief, whatever it is they got going on, it will have to be in alignment with the data collection. Just like it'll have to be in alignment with the theory of gravity, it'll have to be in alignment with biological evolution. These various things, because it's not, it will just look foolish. And you seem like a good person. I don't want you to look foolish. I want good things for you. So I give the advice I give myself. Focus on that data. Do the best you can to be able to improve your own reading ability, and stay apprised of the most current state of the collection. Because that will give whatever work that you are trying to do a better bearing, a better dead reckoning of where to start the journey of figuring things out, and it will give you the most clout in the future when people actually look at what you're doing, when they realize that that is incorporated. You actually do incorporate, biological evolution, you incorporate gravity, you incorporate, the things like that. This is another one, the most important one right now, you can see, of the human condition, and they will look at your work in that light. So I would do yourself that favor. He says, without sounding crazy, I love you, Brother Shaman. Keep pushing forward so when I'm more accomplished in my work, I can find you so we can work together. I would love to hire you as a professor when I build my alchemy mystery school. Well, that sounds quite intriguing. I like mystery schools throughout history. I find them quite fascinating. Obviously, you have to make sure that you have that strong connection between science and spirituality, so it is a truly holistic thing. But it sounds like that's where your headspace is, and I do consider myself to be a shaman of sorts. So yeah, shaman, rock on. He adds, one more thing they should learn is what a priori and a posteriori are, rather than saying you made something up. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of fallacies of logic that they're doing, a whole lot of just simple, small, broken thinking they're doing. And, we can point them all out, which can be fun in its own way. But it's also important to note that this is all coming, I believe, from possession of themselves by lowly influences. And that's making a lot of errors. Even people like Demas. Demas, when he's more in a higher place, he's less addled, then his logic is better. But like, for example, the email he did that people thought was moving, it was just riddled with logical inconsistencies that were really quite obvious. They were clumsy, blatant logical fallacies. And we can go in and note all of them and give them their proper names of, he messed up here and why. But really, you can kind of just take it as a whole, a holistic assessment that this person is not in the right state. They are really just trying to stab away, trying to find something, trying to put sentences together to make something that sounds good. The various faults in that construction, we can give them their names, but just recognizing that it seems like the builder of that construct and all its various flaws was just having a bad day. Yeah, that builder was having a bad day, and so they're building a lot of toxic stupid of great variety. All right, so I guess that's all for now. I wish you the best luck with your journey. Thank you for the goodwill you've sent my way, and I will take that to heart, and I will keep soldiering on, knowing that there are at least some people out there that are getting some benefit.